Welcome, directors, to this crucial session. Today, we are going to tackle something really vital, maybe one of the most important distinctions in our craft. It's that line, that precise line between directing an actor towards, profound transformation and accidentally slipping into territory that's frankly dangerous. Therapy territory.
Exactly. It's a line that demands respect.
The Chubbuck technique, the approach we're exploring, it's powerful stuff. It's all about activating truth, right? Igniting purpose. Getting actors to use their deepest personal experiences for the character.
That's right. It's a comprehensive, structured method. 12 steps designed specifically for actors to harness that personal truth and achieve character transformation.
So our mission today in this session is to really nail down these professional boundaries. How do we make sure every emotional push, every difficult moment actually serves the craft and leads to that repeatable transformation safely and ethically?
That's the core question.
Because as a director, look, you have this incredible responsibility, this sacred charge almost. You're asking actors to dive deep into grief, abandonment, fury. Intense stuff.
Deep waters, absolutely.
But you've got to be crystal clear. You're not there to soothe those wounds. You're there to galvanize, to help the actor take that raw, maybe previously avoided truth and turn it into fuel.
Explosive creative power, right? For the story, for the character's objective.
Yes. It is precisely about converting pain into potent, actionable purpose. Not about comforting it.
So converting, not coddling.
Precisely. That is the essence. And that line we mentioned, it isn't gentle, it's fierce, it has to be clear, and ultimately it's profoundly compassionate because it protects everyone involved.
Right.
It's the non-negotiable boundary between the emotional work of acting and, emotional caretaking. Great directors understand this distinction instinctively. We convert pain, we don't coddle it.
So when we guide an actor using the Chubbuck technique, our goal is to empower them. To help them harness their personal traumas, yes, but to alchemize them. Turn that lead into gold, explosive power that rigorously serves the story, and this is critical, the character's objective.
Alchemize. I like that.
And that means you, the director, have to hold the actor accountable for that alchemy. You're compelling them, guiding them to wield their past, to fight tooth and nail for what their character needs in that scene.
Right. It's active. It's a fight.
Exactly. That is the crucible where transformation is forged. Through ruthless purpose.
Yeah.
Through that unrelenting pursuit of an objective. It's never about just having a good cry or finding release or getting therapeutic comfort.
Yeah.
The director's sacred charge is to transform, not to heal. And you'll find this boundary, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, let's really dig into that distinction then, because you're right. It feels like the bedrock, the absolute foundation for doing this kind of intense work. You said it. Sculpt transformation. Don't dabble in therapy.
Not even a little dabble.
Right. It's not a suggestion. It's a principle. Your job is to ignite, activate, arm the actor. Make them dangerous in a good way. Not offer solace. But I can hear some directors thinking, wait, I build deep trust with my actors? Why can't I offer some emotional support when they're going through something tough for a role? It feels counterintuitive sometimes.
It does, and that's a vital question to address head on. That boundary, that fierce, clear line we keep talking about, it needs to be so strong because the work itself is so potent. It's about protecting the process and the person.
Okay.
If we blur that line, even with the best intentions, we fundamentally change the nature of what we're doing. It stops being about art, a performance, and it starts becoming something else, something we're not equipped for.
Right, we're not therapists.
Exactly. So when we ask an actor to tap into something really deep, grief, abandonment, fury, intense desire, whatever is the purpose, for us as directors must always be laser focused. Galvanize the actor with raw truth for the character's journey.
For the journey.
Yes. Channel that intense emotional energy into the performance, into the character's actions, not into the actor's personal processing right there in the room.
Okay, give us an example. How does that look practically?
Sure. Let's say you have a character who feels profoundly abandoned. The actor, naturally, might draw on a personal experience, a substitution related to abandonment. It's a powerful source.
Right.
Now, your role as the director is not to help the actor process their own feeling of abandonment. It's not about talking through their history or offering comfort for that past pain.
So what is the role then?
Your role is to guide them, to use that potent personal truth, that feeling of abandonment, to fuel the character's actions in the scene. Maybe the character fights desperately for connection now. Maybe they retaliate fiercely. Maybe they manipulate to ensure they're never abandoned again.
So the pain becomes the engine for doing something.
Precisely. The pain is not the end point. It is the fuel for action. If you, the director, step into that healer role, you inadvertently invite the actor to release the pain right there, for themselves, for catharsis.
Which feels good momentarily, maybe, but
It shifts the focus away from the character's objective toward the actor's personal catharsis. And that ultimately weakens the performance. It leaves the actor potentially vulnerable, raw, and maybe even unresolved because you haven't actually done anything with the energy. We are not providing closure for an actor's personal history. That's not our job. We are compelling them to wield their past, to fight like hell for what their character demands in the scene. That's the crucible. Transformation through ruthless purpose, through active pursuit of the character's needs, never through just letting it all out.
okay.
The director's sacred charge: transform, don't heal. That boundary, non-negotiable.
So building on that, why does holding this line, this unwavering boundary, matter so profoundly, especially in this kind of emotionally charged work? We know emotional truth is potent. Actors are making themselves incredibly vulnerable. So without these clear, robust boundaries, isn't there a huge risk? Couldn't that vulnerability easily tip over into exploitation rather than transformation? What's really at stake if a director gets this wrong?
Oh, the stakes are enormous.
Yeah.
Absolutely enormous. Both for the quality of the art you're trying to create and, look, more importantly, for the psychological well-being of the actor you're working with.
Right. The human element.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, a truly powerful performance, the kind that resonates, the kind that changes people, it doesn't require emotional recklessness. Quite the opposite, actually.
How so?
It demands emotional bravery. But that bravery needs to exist firmly within a container of discipline, structure, and psychological protection. Emotion, when it's wielded intentionally, isn't some chaotic flood washing everything away. It's a fire, a controlled fire that we teach the actor to aim with absolute precision. Without those boundaries, that container, that profound vulnerability the actor offers up, well, it risks becoming exploitation. It risks harm. It ceases to be transformative.
Okay, so the boundary is the container.
Precisely. When a director operates without clear boundaries, maybe they mean well, maybe they think they're getting real emotion, but the process, the very process designed to liberate and empower, it can, and often does, just dissolve into chaos.
Or worse.
Or worse. It can cause significant lasting harm. Imagine asking an actor to keep accessing deeply painful memories over and over without the anchor of a clear objective, without a clear way out of that emotion, without knowing how to safely disengage.
That sounds damaging.
It is damaging. It's not art. It's like forcing someone into a kind of psychological reenactment of their trauma, which brings up that, that myth, the myth of no boundaries in art.
Yeah, I've heard that one. The idea that true art needs total abandon.
Right. The notion that real emotional rawness requires emotional chaos.
Yeah.
That's just, it's indulgence. It's not art.
Yeah.
True artistry channels intense emotion through rigorous structure. That's what makes it purposeful. That's what makes it potent.
So structure enables the intensity. It doesn't limit it.
Exactly. And this leads to emotional safety. Now, when we talk about emotional safety in the context of the Chubbuck technique, let's be very clear. It is not about coddling. It's not about shielding an actor from discomfort. Discomfort is part of growth, part of stretching.
Okay.
Emotional safety is about meticulously, consciously building a foundation of trust, absolute clarity about the process, and a shared purpose. This foundation is what empowers actors to dig deeper, to fight harder, to take those painful parts of their history and transform them into potent fuel for victory within the scene.
And when they feel that safety.
When actors feel profoundly emotionally secure, when they know, truly know, that you, the director, are holding that container firmly, they will invariably take bigger risks, much bigger risks.
Because they trust they won't be left hanging.
Precisely. They don't retreat. They don't play it safe. They can dig into their pain, repurpose it, because they trust with absolute certainty that they won't be left shattered in the process. They know you'll guide them back.
So it's kind of a paradox, isn't it? A truly safe environment actually becomes a high-stakes environment because it gives the actor the confidence to really go there.
That's a perfect way to put it. It is paradoxical. How do you communicate that safety? Not just with words, although clear communication is key from day one. You communicate it through your actions, through your unwavering commitment to the structure, to the process, to the boundaries.
Show, don't just tell.
Always. High stakes don't come from recklessness. They arise from precision, from clarity, from a deep shared understanding that emotional risk is only truly powerful when it's rooted in a clear objective.
Okay.
When it's channeled through well-defined tactics.
Right.
And when it's firmly supported by boundaries that the actor knows without a shadow of a doubt will be honored. No exceptions. This isn't about making the work softer, directors. Please understand that.
No, it's sharpening it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sharpening it. Protecting the emotional truth, never exploiting it. Earning that power through unwavering respect, not through fear or manipulation. This approach lets that emotional fire illuminate truth with blinding clarity, rather than just burning down the house.
And how do you establish that from the get-go? First rehearsal.
From the very first conversation, you state the purpose of the work clearly. You outline the boundaries you uphold. You articulate your commitment to their safety within the craft. And then you demonstrate it consistently, redirecting them back to their objective if they drift. Having clear protocols for cooling down after intense scenes. That consistency, that reliability, that's what builds trust, brick by brick.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into a cornerstone of the Chubbuck technique, the objective. The character's objective as the absolute unwavering anchor for all the emotional work. You're saying any emotional excavation, no matter how deep or raw it gets, has to be tied directly to what the character's fighting for in that scene.
Always, without exception.
And this requires, as you said, a fundamental shift in how a director asks questions. Forget, how do you feel? Instead, it's relentlessly, what are you fighting for? What do you want?
Yes.
Relentlessly.
But let's be honest. You're watching an actor, maybe someone you really care about, and their invisible, raw emotional pain. How do you resist that very human impulse to comfort them or to ask about the feeling itself? How do you keep redirecting them back to that objective, even when it feels tough? That impulse is human, you're right, and it's natural. And that is precisely why maintaining this boundary requires constant vigilance, constant discipline from you, the director. It's a muscle you have to build.
Okay.
When an actor uses a powerful personal experience through substitution, it's not accidental. It's a deliberate choice. A choice to weaponize their history for a very specific scene-driven purpose.
Weaponize, not wallow.
Exactly. We're not there to help them heal their past in that moment. We're there to help them forge it into a psychological war chest for the character. You have to be unequivocal. In your mind, and sometimes even out loud, remind yourself, this is not therapy. Our pursuit here is not peace, it is power. Power for the performance.
Okay. So keep that mantra in mind.
Absolutely. If an actor taps into, say, a painful memory of abandonment or betrayal, it's because that specific pain mirrors the stakes for the character in that scene. Your guidance must then repurpose that real-life trauma. Not let them dwell in it, get lost in it, but drive them to do something with it. On screen, in the scene, pain becomes action. Longing becomes fuel. Rage becomes strategy. Your constant anchor for the actor must always be their objective.
So the questions are key.
The questions are everything. Constantly ask, what do you want in this scene right now from that person? What is at stake for your character if you don't get it? What action are you taking right now to win? And crucially, how does that memory, that feeling you're tapping into, drive that hunger for your character?
Connect the dots.
Keep the actor focused. Because emotion without a clear objective, that's just indulgence. It might look intense, but it doesn't serve the story. Emotion with an objective, that is power. That changes things.
Okay, so what do you do when an actor does crack open emotionally? Tears are flowing, the pain is palpable. What's the move then? Don't soothe.
Do not rush to soothe. Do not shy away from the heat. That's the moment of potential power. Your job is to take that intensity, that raw energy, and immediately redirect it, relentlessly, right back into the spine of the scene.
Oh, what do you say?
You command them. Gently but firmly. Use that. Use that feeling right now to go after what you want even harder. Let that pain fuel your next tactic. Show me how that desperation makes you fight differently. You're telling them, essentially, use that personal truth to escalate your tactics, not just to produce tears.
So vulnerability becomes velocity.
Beautifully put, yes. Velocity, forward momentum. Because the essence of the Chubbuck technique is not about emotion for its own sake. It's not measured by how beautiful the cry is or how convincing the breakdown looks, by whether that emotion achieves something for the character. Does it change the dynamic? Does it overcome an obstacle? Does it win the objective? Emotion is a means to a tactical end. Think of it as a battering ram.
Not a decoration.
Never a decoration. Every peer, every shout, every tremor of fear, it must serve the larger objective to win something vital within the scene.
So it boils down to effectiveness over just, emotional display. How do you help an actor really grasp that difference? Because sometimes a big emotional release can feel like a breakthrough, right?
It can feel like one, yes, to the actor and sometimes even to the director watching. But we need to be more discerning. Your actors are not there to be emotionally impressive. They're there to be emotionally effective.
Okay.
The feelings themselves are never the end game. The transformation that results from those feelings is the end game. What truly matters is what changes because of that emotion. Does a barrier shatter between characters? Is a new connection forged? Is a hidden truth exposed and then weaponized?
So the breakthrough isn't the tears, it's what the tears do to the scene.
Precisely. The true breakthrough moment in rehearsal or on a take is not when the actor simply breaks down crying. It's when the actor uses that powerful emotion to fundamentally shift the dynamic, to surprise their scene partner, to discover and win a new tactic they hadn't found before.
And if they just cry and nothing changes?
Then it's likely self-indulgence, or maybe emotional leakage. It's not narrative momentum. And here's the danger. When directors confuse that kind of emotional release with artistic success, we inadvertently create unsafe environments because we start rewarding the leakage. We foster spaces where actors might feel pressured to just bleed emotionally, but they don't actually grow or transform the material. Vulnerability becomes the product, not the vehicle. And when actors get applause for their pain rather than their power, well, they can get trapped, stuck in a cycle of trauma reenactment instead of achieving genuine transformation.
Wow. Okay. That's a crucial distinction.
It is. So you must reframe the goal. For yourself and for your actors, emotion is not for catharsis in this context. It is for conquest. The moment isn't successful because it feels real to the actor. It's successful because it irrevocably changes the stakes, the scene dynamics, the relationship, the character status. That is the strategy landing.
So guide them to use it tactically.
Always. To seduce, to dominate, to plead, to manipulate, to destroy, to rebuild, whatever the tactic is. The transformation doesn't come from just feeling more. It comes from doing more with what they feel.
That distinction between feeling and doing, catharsis and conquest, that's incredibly powerful. So let's dig a bit deeper into how an actor actually accesses that raw personal truth safely without that overexposure we talked about. We're circling back to substitution, step 3.
A cornerstone.
It's such a potent tool, but like you said, it's often misunderstood. And sometimes directors, maybe trying to help, push actors to disclose the personal history behind their substitution choice. How do we make it crystal clear to actors that they don't need to share that story with us? And why is keeping that private so fundamentally important?
This is profoundly important, you're right. And it goes directly to the precision, the care required when directing substitution. When an actor employs substitution, remember, you're inviting them to make a brave, deliberate choice. A choice to weaponize a piece of their history for a very specific scene-driven purpose. As we've established, we are absolutely not there to heal the past in the rehearsal room. We are there to help the actor forge it into a psychological war chest for the character. So the director has to be unequivocally clear, maybe not always in words, but certainly in action and focus. This is not therapy. Our pursuit is not peace. It is power. Performance power.
So the director's focus needs to be where?
Entirely on helping the actor craft the performance. How does that substitution translate into specific actionable behavior? How does it fuel the character's fight? That's the focus, not excavating the actor's emotional history.
What happens when a director does probe? When they ask, so what happened? What's the story behind that feeling?
That's where the line gets crossed. You risk pulling the actor right out of their professional creative process and into a deeply vulnerable personal space, a space that might not actually serve the scene at all. In fact, it can be detrimental. It can derail the work and, more importantly, potentially harm the actor's psychological well-being.
Because it becomes about their pain, not the character's objective.
Precisely. Asking, tell me more about what happened to you that makes you feel that grief. That's a therapist's question. It shifts the focus entirely away from the character's struggle and onto the actor's personal pain, inviting processing, not performance.
Okay, so what are the right questions for a director to ask then? How do you nudge them towards that emotional truth, that intensity, without crossing into their private history?
You ask questions that robustly support the performance, questions that remain firmly rooted in the world of the character and the immediate needs of this scene. Instead of digging into personal history, you might ask things like, what does your character desperately want from this other person right now? What extreme action are they willing to take to get it? What specific memory, what specific person perhaps, makes this character fight even harder for their objective?
Still personal, but directed outwards towards the character's action.
Exactly. Or even, what personal truth can you connect with this character's desperation that makes you fight with absolute unwavering conviction? See the difference? The 12 steps of the Chubbuck technique actually provide the precise language inquiry for this. They kept the work intensely personal, deeply felt, without ever making it invasive.
So the technique itself provides the boundary framework.
It absolutely does. And substitution, by its very nature, is inherently private. The actor's personal source, the specific memory, person, or event they are using, must remain theirs alone. No disclosure is required. It's not even beneficial for the director to know the specifics.
Why not beneficial? Wouldn't knowing help guide them?
Not necessarily. Knowing the story can tempt the director to judge the substitution. Is that really strong enough? Or worse, to inadvertently start playing therapist. It shifts the focus from the effect of the substitution, the behavior, the intensity, the drive, to the source. And the source is the actor's private toolbox. This boundary is absolutely essential for maintaining trust and safety. You, the director, are not a therapist. You are not entitled to the actor's trauma history. You are entitled only to their unwavering commitment to using their emotional truth in service of the objective.
That commitment is the work.
That, and only that, is the work. Directing doesn't require confession. It demands transformation. And protecting that privacy allows the actor to take ownership of their craft, to build their internal resources without feeling exposed or judged, and ultimately to maintain the power and integrity of their artistic choices.
That commitment to privacy and purpose is so key, and it flows right into another powerful tool in the framework. Inner objects. Step 4. These are, as you described them, contained emotional triggers. Specific memories, sensory details, things that fuel emotion, providing that raw, visceral connection for the actor.
Yes.
But just like substitution, inner objects are tools for the actor to use. They're not material for therapy sessions, right? Not for public dissection in the rehearsal room. So how does a director guide an actor to use inner objects, effectively get that urgency, that intensity, while still protecting their privacy and avoiding that dangerous overexposure?
This is really about guiding the actor to build their internal landscape with meticulous precision and containment. Think about it. Sometimes the emotional waves do become overwhelming for an actor. Maybe the truth of a substitution feels too big, too flooding.
Yeah, that can happen.
In that moment, the director's responsibility isn't to shut down the emotion, but to help the actor anchor it. Anchor it to something real, something potent, but something contained. An inner object is precisely that anchor.
How does it contain the emotion?
It keeps the pain or the longing or the fury intensely personal and alive, but it makes it vitally usable. It gives the actor something specific and tangible to hold on to when that emotional ocean threatens to just engulf them. It allows them to ride the wave, harness its power, rather than drown in it.
Okay, so it's a focusing device.
A powerful focusing device. Imagine an actor working on a scene of profound longing, let's say. They might select an inner object. Maybe it's the vivid memory of a specific scent, like rain on pavement or a particular piece of music, or even the imagined tactile sensation of a last loved one's hand.
Okay.
Now, your role as the director is not to know the intimate personal story behind why that smell or that touch is significant. Your role is to guide the actor to deepen their connection to that inner object, to fully internalize its sensory details, its emotional resonance, so it can effectively fuel the character's longing within the scene.
So what might you say to the actor?
You might simply say something like, deepen that inner object now, or connect fully with that sensory detail. What do you see, hear, feel when you hold that object in your mind? Or let that inner object fuel your character's relentless pursuit of X right now. You're guiding their focus, their internal concentration.
And just naming it even privately helps.
Yes. Naming the inner object, even if only the actor knows its full personal significance, and visualizing it vividly strengthens that crucial tether. It transforms the raw pain from something overwhelming into a tactical advantage. It makes the emotion a controllable, aimable force.
So again, it comes back to the director trusting the actor's internal process, trusting they've chosen something potent without needing to verify the backstory. You focus on the result, the behavior it produces.
Exactly right. This technique allows actors to tap into incredibly deep emotional truth without overexposing themselves, without feeling obligated to share private details, and without slipping into that mode of therapeutic reenactment. It is purely about channeling that intense internal experience into outward scene-driven, objective-focused behavior, not about revealing personal history for revelation's sake.
It really highlights how the structure itself protects the actor.
It does. What stands out here is that by providing this structured tool, like the inner object, we're constantly reinforcing that crucial boundary between the actor's private emotional life and the character's public performance needs. It's a testament, really, to how the Chubbuck technique provides that hard, reliable structure for navigating what can be very dangerous emotional terrain. It ensures the actor can go right to the edge, find that power without falling apart, and always, always in service of the objective. The director's focus remains squarely on how that inner object translates into the character's actions, intentions, and impact within the scene.
Okay, so we've talked about internal tools like substitution and inner objects. But there's another really powerful way to dial up the emotional intensity, isn't there? One that focuses entirely on the character's narrative, rather than asking the actor to dig directly into personal pain.
Absolutely. Through obstacles and psychological stakes.
Right. And the key here, as you mentioned, is making those stakes feel absolutely life or death for the actor playing the character, but ensuring that feeling is rooted firmly within the scene's context, the character's specific journey, not by somehow directly tapping into or manipulating the actor's real-life fears.
That distinction is critical, absolutely critical for maintaining boundaries while still demanding monumental emotional investment from the actor. Your role as the director is to amplify and raise the stakes only through the story, through the character's specific journey. Never, ever through personal probing or psychological manipulation of the actor themselves.
How do the 12 steps help here?
They guide this process meticulously. Take obstacles, for instance. Obstacles are simply what stand in the way of the character achieving their objective. The bigger, the harder, the more insurmountable the obstacle seems. The higher the emotional investment the character needs to bring to overcome it.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a simple scene. Character A needs character B to sign a document. The basic obstacle is just character B's reluctance. It's okay, but maybe not thrilling.
Right, low stakes.
But now, as the director, you raise the obstacle. Maybe character B isn't just reluctant. Maybe they actively despise character A and are trying to sabotage their entire life. Maybe signing this document is the only thing preventing character A's ruin.
Ah, okay. Suddenly much higher stakes.
Dramatically higher.
Yeah.
The actor playing character A doesn't need you to probe their personal fears of ruin. Their emotional investment will naturally escalate because the character's fight just became incredibly desperate. The obstacle itself demands more from them.
And psychological stakes, how do they differ?
Psychological stakes are about the internal, personal cost of failure for the character. What deep-seated fear or need is driving them? What core part of their identity is on the line if they don't achieve their objective? These stakes must indeed feel life or death to the actor embodying the character, but again, they're rooted in the character's specific narrative and psychology, not directly yanked from the actor's personal life.
So what kinds of questions should a director ask to amplify those character-based stakes? How do you push that life or death feeling without making it about the actor's own life and death?
You keep the questions laser-focused on the character's world, their fears, their potential gains. Push the actor to identify their character's deepest why with visceral truth. For example, you might ask, what will your character truly lose forever if they fail in this scene? Is it their self-respect, their family's safety, their one chance at redemption? Or what deep part of their identity, who they believe themselves to be, shatters if they don't get what they want right now? Or even, what future does your character see for themselves if they win this? And what terrifying future do they see if they lose?
So you're connecting to universal human experiences, fear of loss, need for validation, survival, but through the specific lens of the character situation.
Precisely. These questions compel the actor to connect with their character's deepest fears and desires. They draw on the actor's own understanding of human experience, yes, but always channel it through the specific circumstances and psychology of the character they're playing.
And this keeps the work tied to the narrative.
Firmly tied to the narrative. It prevents the emotional work from becoming self-indulgent or slipping into that therapeutic mode. It ensures the emotion generated is for conquest within the scene, for propelling the story forward with relentless, believable purpose. You're building a powerful emotional charge around the character's journey, making it irresistibly urgent for the actor to fight. They aren't being asked to relive their own life or death stakes. They are being asked to fully embody the characters, tapping into the universal human understanding of what it means to face profound loss or fight for desperate need.
Okay, this feels like a really critical area for any director using these powerful techniques. Recognizing the danger signs, the red flags. What are the specific indicators that an actor might be slipping out of craft, out of performance mode, and into something more like, well, therapy mode or genuine distress? It can't always be obvious, right? Sometimes intense emotion looks like great acting.
It's not always obvious, you're absolutely right. And distinguishing between powerful channeled emotion serving the character and an actor genuinely struggling or dissociating requires incredible vigilance from the director. This is where your leadership, your duty of care, is truly tested. You have to prioritize the human being in front of you always.
So what should directors be looking for? What are these specific signals?
We need to be acutely aware, watching the actor's whole state, physical, vocal, emotional. Let's detail these crucial red flags. First, and maybe one of the most alarming, is dissociation.
What does that look like?
The actor goes blank. They might zone out, stare into space. They can become physically rigid, almost frozen, maybe nonverbal. They seem distant, unfocused, unable to respond to direction or even connect with their scene partner. It signals a profound loss of grounding in the present moment. They're not in the scene anymore. They've disconnected from the present reality as a coping mechanism.
Okay, that sounds serious. What else?
Second, extreme distress. This is more overt. Any expression or display of suicidal ideation, obviously, but also expressions of extreme hopelessness, uncontrollable panic attacks, either during the work itself or maybe in conversations around the work, in breaks or before after rehearsals. These are immediate, urgent signals that require professional help way beyond your role as a director.
Right, immediate stop.
Absolutely. Third, watch for repeated breakdowns without forward movement. We talked about tears not being the goal. This is when you see emotional spirals, intense crying, anguish that leave the actor completely unable to re-enter the scene. They can't reset. They can't integrate the emotion back into action. They're just stuck in a loop of release that serves no tactical purpose for the character. The emotion pours out, but nothing changes in the scene. They can't get back to purposeful action.
Okay, stuck in the feeling.
Exactly. Fourth, and this is insidious, re-traumatization. This is when the emotional material, the substitution perhaps, seems to be genuinely harming the actor rather than empowering them. They appear stuck in the past event, emotionally flooded, maybe exhibiting physical signs of trauma response. They seem visibly harmed by accessing the material, and crucially, they show no ability to reframe it, channel it, or return to the craft afterwards. The pain isn't being used, it's being relived in a damaging way. They aren't channeling it, they are drowning in it.
That's a very fine line sometimes.
It is. And finally, watch for persistent blurring boundaries. This is when the actor starts relying on the rehearsal room, or on you, for their personal emotional processing or validation. Rather than focusing on the scene work, they might overshare personal details unrelated to the work, seeking solace or advice. You see a consistent blurring between the character's emotion and the actor's personal overwhelm, where they seem unable to separate their own pain from the performance requirements.
Okay, these are really clear and frankly quite serious signals. So when a director sees one or more of these red flags appear, what's the next step? How do you intervene effectively, compassionately, but also firmly draw that necessary professional line without making the actor feel judged or abandoned?
This is a moment that requires profound responsibility and careful handling. Your primary duty shifts immediately to protecting the actor. But importantly, this is not about you trying to fix them or rescue them. That would pull you into therapy mode, which you're not qualified for, and which undermines the professional boundary.
So what do?
You draw a firm, clear, compassionate line. You need direct, unambiguous phrasing. You might pause the work, take the actor aside privately, and say something like, "I see you are in a really difficult place right now, and this feels like it's going beyond the scope of our work together here."
Okay. Acknowledging their state, but defining the scope.
Exactly. Then add the care and the redirection. I care about you as a person, very much, not just as an artist. And because I care, I believe the strongest and most respectful choice right now is to pause this specific exploration and make sure you can connect with the right kind of support. Someone who is qualified to help you navigate this kind of intense material safely.
Wow, that's very direct, but also caring.
The tone is crucial. Absolute clarity that's saturated with deep care and respect. This is redirection, not rejection. You are not abandoning them. You are guiding them towards appropriate professional care while maintaining the integrity and safety of the artistic space for everyone. This kind of intervention reinforces that your rehearsal room is a place of deep purpose and structure, not emotional chaos. It demonstrates true leadership with wisdom, humility, and profound respect for the human being, entrusting you with their vulnerability.
That clarity in intervention is so important. But ideally, we want to avoid reaching that crisis point, right? So shifting from reacting to red flags, let's talk about proactive measures. What are the essential protocols directors must implement from the very beginning to ensure safety and maintain those crucial boundaries consistently? This isn't about limiting creativity, is it? It's about building that strong container you mentioned.
Precisely. It's about building the container so creativity can truly flourish safely. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they are non-negotiable pillars of trauma-informed ethical directing, especially when using techniques that access deep emotional wells. Think of them as hard structure for navigating potentially dangerous emotional terrain. They protect the actor while deepening the work.
Okay, lay them out for us. What are these pillars?
Okay, first and perhaps most foundational. Consent is ongoing. It is never a one-time checkbox.
Not just signing a contract addendum.
Absolutely not. You must explicitly ask permission before engaging with potentially sensitive personal material, even implicitly through certain lines of questioning. And that consent is a dynamic, evolving agreement. Trust deepens. The work intensifies. So you need to check in regularly. Are you comfortable exploring this theme today? How are you feeling about digging into this aspect of the character?
So make it a habit.
Make it an inherent habit. And critically, encourage your actors to speak up. Normalize self-advocacy. Create an environment where it's safe for them to say no, or I need a different approach, or I need a break. Explicit opt-in, opt-out systems for particularly sensitive scenes or themes established before you start are invaluable.
And the director's role in that.
Model it. Model vulnerability yourself. Communicate your boundaries when appropriate. When directors are open about their own limits and process, it empowers actors immeasurably to voice theirs. It sends a clear message. Leadership here is built on empathy and shared responsibility.
Okay. Ongoing consent. What's next?
Second, Clarity of objective and tactics. We keep coming back to this because it's central. The Chubbuck technique channels emotion through the relentless pursuit of a specific need. The structure itself is a safety mechanism. It grounds the emotional storm in purpose.
Right, gives it direction.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from just reliving pain to actively using it, transforming that emotion into a tactical weapon. You must consistently reinforce the tactical nature of the performance, anchor the actor in doing, not just feeling. Clarify the objective at every single phase. And when an actor starts to spiral emotionally, your go-to question should immediately be, what are you trying to win right now? That question alone can often pull them back to center, back to their craft.
Okay. Anchor them in the objective.
Third, substitution, not exposure. Remember, step 3, substitution is inherently private. The actor's personal source material must remain theirs alone. No disclosure is required or needed.
Reinforce that boundary constantly.
Constantly. You are not their therapist. You're not entitled to their trauma. You are entitled only to their commitment to using that emotional truth effectively in service of the objective. Keep your focus entirely on helping them channel that pain into specific actionable behavior, not on excavating the history behind it. Use the 12 steps as your precise language of inquiry. It keeps the work intensely personal without ever becoming invasive.
Got it. What about after the intense work is done?
Critical point. Pillar 4. Check in and debrief. After intense emotional scenes, checking in is not optional. It is an integral part of the process itself. Emotional recovery is a non-negotiable part of the emotional journey for an actor.
So don't just move on to the next scene.
Never. Ask them explicitly what they need to reset. Don't assume. It might be 5 minutes of silence. It might be stepping outside for fresh air. It might be a brief, light conversation totally unrelated to the scene. Build dedicated cool down or debriefing time into your schedule when you know you're tackling emotionally charged work. It's a necessity for artistic sustainability and human care.
And keep the debrief focused.
Keep check-ins relatively short and laser-focused on grounding, on helping the actor re-enter the present moment and reclaim their own emotional baseline. It's not another opportunity to therapize or analyze the feeling. It's about helping them transition back safely.
Makes sense. What about physical safety?
Absolutely crucial. Pillar 5. Physical boundaries are non-negotiable. Any moments involving intimacy, simulated violence, or even just navigating personal space require meticulous choreography and explicit, enthusiastic agreement from everyone involved.
Let's just see what happens.
Never, ever wing it or improvise in these areas. Unplanned or unchoreographed physicality, especially involving intimacy or violence, is a profound breach of trust and carries enormous risk of both physical and emotional harm. Rehearse these physical beats with the precision of dance choreography.
Use specialists.
Absolutely. Bring in intimacy coordinators or fight directors whenever appropriate. Their expertise and neutrality are invaluable. And ensure all parties explicitly understand and consent to the physical beats each day they are rehearsed or performed. Consent isn't static. It must be continually reaffirmed.
Okay, one more pillar.
Yes, and it's a vital one. Pillar 6. Don't weaponize psychology. Never, ever use personal revelations shared by an actor as leverage against them.
What does that mean exactly?
If an actor, in a moment of vulnerability or trust, shares something deeply personal with you, maybe you had a past relationship, a fear, a trauma that is a profound gift, it is not a tool for you to manipulate their performance later. Do not quote their personal story back to them to try and push an emotional button or coerce them into going deeper. That is manipulation, plain and simple. It shatters trust.
So how do you guide them if they seem stuck?
Your guidance must always steer them toward craft, never toward emotional collapse. Redirect their emotional truth back into strategic action using the technique. If you see them spiraling or hitting a wall, pull them back to the 12 steps. Back to objective, tactics, obstacles. Use the technique itself as the safety net and the engine, not your own armchair psychology. That's where real craft lies, not in coaxing pain out, but in rigorously teaching them how to aim it like a weapon in pursuit of victory.
And be flexible.
Always. Remember, the script is a blueprint, not a prison. Be open to rewriting a line, restaging a moment if the current execution undermines trust or compromises the actor's humanity. Listen to your gut, yes, but critically listen to theirs. Authenticity should never, ever come at the cost of personal safety or professional ethics.
Those pillars provide such a clear, practical roadmap. So to really crystallize this, let's draw some sharp contrasts. Can we outline some really clear examples of what constitutes bad boundaries, those practices that blur the lines and create risk versus good boundaries, the practices that maintain that crucial focus on craft and safety? What are the telltale signs a director should recognize in their own practice or in others?
Absolutely. Making this distinction crystal clear is vital for self-assessment and for ensuring you're creating a truly productive and safe environment. Let's break down the hallmarks of each. First, let's identify bad boundaries, the practices to avoid at all costs. Digging into trauma stories or personal history. We've hit this hard, but it bears repeating. Asking things like, tell me exactly what happened during that event you're using for substitution. This turns directing into excavating a wound, not forging a weapon. It pulls the actor out of their professional process into a therapeutic space you are not equipped to manage. Rewarding emotional breakdowns or tears for their own sake. Giving praise like, wow, you really broke down there, that was amazing, without connecting it to whether the character achieved anything. This cultivates self-indulgence, emotional leakage. Vulnerability becomes the product, not the vehicle. It risks trapping actors in trauma reenactment, valuing the display over the impact. Manipulating actors with personal revelations or shame. Using something an actor shared in confidence. Remember how you felt when X happened. Use that. Or shaming them. Are you sure you're digging deep enough? This exploits trust, causes actors to shut down defensively, and ultimately flattens the performance. Improvising intimate or volatile physical scenes. Saying, let's just try the fight scene and see where the emotions take you. Or explore the kiss physically. Find the moment. This is a profound breach of trust and risks serious physical and emotional harm. It substitutes recklessness for rigor.
Okay, those are pretty clear don'ts. Now, what does the good side look like in action?
Right. Now contrast those with the integrity and effectiveness of good boundaries. Clarifying objectives, tactics, obstacles, and psychological stakes relentlessly. Always anchoring the emotional work to purposeful action. Asking, given that obstacle, what new tactic will your character use now? This transforms pain into strategy, ensuring emotion serves a clear conquest within the scene, unyielding commitment to ongoing consent and clear opt-out systems, building that foundation of trust meticulously, regularly checking in, how does this feel to work on today? Creating a space where actors feel empowered to voice boundaries without fear of reprisal. This security allows bigger artistic risks. Respecting the absolute privacy of substitution and inner objects, recognizing these are the actor's internal private tools, focusing your direction on how the actor channels that internal fuel into usable external behavior and intensity without ever needing to know the specific personal source material, building recovery and debriefing time into the rehearsal schedule, demonstrating profound care and ensuring sustainability, taking those 5 minutes after a tough scene, helping actors recenter and return to their baseline, meticulously choreographing all physical and intimate moments with clear consent, providing absolute clarity, structure, and confidence for scenes involving physical risk or vulnerability. Actors know exactly what to expect, step by step, ensuring their physical and emotional safety is paramount. This enables braver, stronger work rooted in respect, redirecting an actor from therapy mode back to the craft using the 12 steps, maintaining professional focus when an actor starts to drift, using the technique itself. What's your objective here? What tactic serves that? To empower the actor to steer their performance strategically, keeping the focus on doing, not just feeling.
So the difference really is about focus and structure versus probing and chaos.
Precisely. This distinction isn't about lessening the intensity. It's about sharpening the work. It's about protecting the integrity of emotional truth, channeling it effectively, and ultimately earning power through deep respect, not through manipulation or fear. It transforms a potentially harmful process into one that is structured, deliberate, powerfully effective, and allows the actor to grow through the work rather than simply bleed without purpose.
So as we wrap up the session, it feels crucial to just reiterate the incredible power that strong professional boundaries actually bring to the creative process. They aren't limitations, are they? They're fundamentally liberating.
Profoundly liberating, yes.
They create a space that holds both profound safety and the potential for absolutely explosive power for the actor. And it hammers home that our ultimate role as directors using this technique is not to heal the actor's scars, but to help them transform those scars into potent strategy, into weapons for the character's relentless fight for their objective.
That's the charge. Demand authenticity, demand risk, yes, but always within that structured, protected, respectful environment.
Right. It's the container that allows the contents to be so potent.
That is precisely it. And perhaps the most distilled truth, the core takeaway from everything we've discussed today is this. Professional boundaries do not reduce intensity. They don't dilute the work. They allow that intensity to truly thrive, to become focused, precise, and sustainable.
They channel it.
They channel it. The finest directors, the ones who elicit those truly breathtaking, unforgettable performances, they do it by empowering their actors, never by breaking them. And that empowerment doesn't just spring from vague encouragement or praise. It arises from a deep, nuanced understanding of the actor's psychological terrain, yes, but more importantly, by skillfully directing their belief.
Directing their belief. What do you mean by that?
When an actor truly believes, down to their bones, that you, the director, have their back, that you are guiding them with unwavering integrity, with clarity, with respect, that you are protecting them while pushing them, when they feel that deep trust, they will dare to bring more truth, more danger, more profound depth to their work than you ever thought possible.
Trust is the currency, then.
Trust is the absolute currency. It's the invisible force that allows actors to take those bigger artistic swings, to explore the riskier tactics, to stay powerfully present even in scenes that press right on their rawest nerves. And that trust isn't granted automatically. It is meticulously earned through unwavering consistency in your approach, through absolute clarity in your communication and process, and critically, through how you respond with wisdom, strength, and compassion when they inevitably feel uncertain or vulnerable during this demanding work.
So safety enables risk.
Fundamentally, if an actor feels truly safe, emotionally, physically, psychologically, they possess the freedom to risk exposing more of themselves. They will reach fearlessly into their most personal memories, their fiercest fears, and they will harness that potent fuel to fight with everything they have for their character's objective. But if they feel unsafe, judged, or exploited, they will instinctively, necessarily shut down, withdraw, protect themselves. And the performance flattens, not because they lack talent, but because their very nervous system tells them it's not safe enough to remain open and vulnerable. It is your sacred responsibility, directors, perhaps your most important task, to hold the space, to create and fiercely maintain the container where the magnificent, powerful lion inside the actor does not need to constantly guard its own cage, where it feels free to roam, to roar, to hunt.
That's a powerful image.
So, my directors, I leave you with this final thought to carry into your work. Power, true artistic power, does not spring from recklessness or boundary blurring. It blossoms from trust. The kind of deep, earned trust that is meticulously built breath by breath, take by take. And that trust is painstakingly cultivated through leadership that intimately understands the profound power of consent, the absolute necessity of clarity, and the vital protection of containment. That kind of leadership, my directors, doesn't just hold the performance together, it elevates it. It elevates it to legendary heights.